Hi, my name is Jim Bowden and welcome to the Uncertainty Center. Today we're going to talk about how to create a virtual machine on your computer. And all of the how-to talks that I do are available in PDF format on uncertainty.center or uncertainycenter.com. Just click on the computer tab and you can download Creating a Virtual Machine.pdf. If you're not familiar with the virtual machine, the next few slides hopefully will help explain how it works. I'm going to define a very simplistic model of how a computer and virtual machine work together. If you were to take the case off of your computer, look inside, you'd find your main CPU, a bunch of other components that help the computer run, and then hopefully lots and lots of memory. And you'd also find a hard drive inside. And this is what the hard drive would look like. It would have the system on it and a bunch of programs. So, we also have a display monitor outside. So we're going to press the start button on a computer, and what happens when we press it is the operating system gets loaded off of the hard drive and loaded into memory on a computer. And that operating system can be XP, Vista, Windows 7, Windows 8, it doesn't matter, but it gets loaded into memory. And once it's loaded, then the screen becomes active and you see Windows running on your screen. And if we click on one of the icons on the screen, that will cause a program that's associated with that icon to be loaded into memory, and that program will start to run. To create a virtual machine, this is what we need. We need memory space, we need hard drive space, and we need an operating system. So what we need to do is borrow memory from the main system or the host system, and we need to borrow a large hunk of memory. It's going to take quite a bit to get this thing running. And then we also need to borrow hard drive space from the hard drive. So we'll go out and grab a big hunk of that hard drive space, and then we'll have our system, our operating system, that we can load on it. Okay, we need plenty of memory space, plenty of hard drive space, an operating system, and we need one more thing, and that's something that's called virtualization software. And that's what I'm going to be talking about in the rest of this video, are 3 different types of virtualization software. There are probably 15 or 20 out there, and they all work basically the same way. That's what I'm going to show you today. Virtualization software, we need to tell it how much memory space we want, we need to tell it how much hard drive space, we need to tell it where the operating system is, and we need to tell it that we want to create that virtual machine, and then we actually need to load the operating system onto that virtual machine. The first virtualization software that we're going to talk about is Oracle's VirtualBox. I've got a link here that you can download it, and if you click on the link, it's going to take you to this site. It's Oracle's site, and we want to go to the Windows host, the top one there, and click on that and download it, and that will bring up something on the bottom of your screen that looks like this, and you can choose either run, save, or cancel. I usually do a save as and save them in my download directory. That way I can always go back, and if I want to rerun or take it off and put it back on again, uninstall it and reinstall it, I have that copy there. Okay, let's go to the computer and see what it looks like. Okay, I'm on my desktop here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down and find out where I stored Oracle's VirtualBox, and I put it in my downloads directory. So if I search in there and go down to the bottom, there's my Oracle VirtualBox, and I'll load in the one I just loaded. I have several of them saved, and so now what it's going to do is it's starting the load in. I'm going to keep all of the defaults on there. We'll keep the defaults here, and it's telling me it's going to use the network. Okay, and it's all set to go, so let's install it. And it goes pretty quick. It doesn't take it long to install it. And almost there. Okay, it's installed. That's all there is to it. We'll finish it up. Get the file manager out of the way here. Let's close that up. And there I have it. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to create a new virtual machine. Let me click on the new button. I'm going to call it XP. And I'm going to save it in Windows 32-bit. And click Next. And let's set the memory at 512 meg. And Next. And then we want to create a virtual hard drive, yes, and we'll use the VDI type, and then we'll set the amount of memory to 10 gig, and that's already set, and we're ready to go. We just created a virtual machine. That's all there is to it, except one thing. When I go to start it up, I get this thing that says, oh, you need an operating system on it. Now I've already loaded a DVD in my E drive here, so I'm going to load it off of the E drive. And so I've got this thing sped up. What you have to watch out for this is there's a thing that says press any key to boot from CD. It looks like this. You do not want to press any key. But farther along, you're going to get to the point where you need to type in your key for the operating system, the 25 character key, and so you need to have that ready and type that in. And there, I've typed it in. I've really sped this up, and you can see I've got XP up and running now on my computer. And from this screen now, and this operating system, I can load programs onto XP. Now let's close this out, and I'm going to power the machine off. Okay, and we'll get out of Oracle VirtualBox here. Okay, let's go into Windows 7 Pro. Windows 7 Pro is quite a bit different. It comes with a program called Virtual PC, and it has XP mode already on it. And if I go down to the Start button at the bottom, click on the Start button, and what I want to do is find Virtual PC, and it's near the bottom there. And if I go into Virtual PC, what it does is this is some virtualization software that allows me to create a virtual PC, and it's already got XP mode in there, but we can create another virtual machine. We would give it a name, and then we would go through the list of options similar to VirtualBox, and we'd give it the amount of memory and the hard drive information here. We're not going to create it, but this is where you would give it hard drive information, and there's advanced options on there. So you would set your hard drive up, and then you would click on create, which we're not going to do. I'm going to cancel out here. And but what I do want to show you is if you go back to the Start menu and look at the programs again and go down, and you'll see an XP mode on there. And that XP mode is a virtual machine that has already been created, and it's on XP Pro, or Windows 7 Pro. It comes with the XP mode. And so you can load that in, and here I've got it loaded in, and as you can see, I've already got a couple of programs loaded on that XP mode, and so I can run them. But we'll just get out of here. Let's close that down, and what it does is it hibernates it. It saves all the information it needs, and then it closes up. But that's Windows 7 XP mode, Windows 7 Pro XP mode. And let's move on to Windows 8 Pro. Windows 8 Pro is considerably different than the rest, is it uses something called HyperV. And so let's get over here. I'm on Windows 8 Pro, and I'm going to go down and click on the Windows button here. I'm going to right click on it and go to the control panel, and then what I want to do is click on the programs and then turn features on and off here. I'll click on that, and what I'm looking for in this list is something called HyperV, and it's up near the top. I expand it out, and as you can see, none of them are checked. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check those, and they're checked now, and when I press on OK, it's going to have to load the files in, and then what it's going to do, it applies the changes, and then I have to restart my computer. So every time I install it or uninstall it, I have to restart the computer. So we're going to do that now. And so my computer just did a reboot, and I'm coming back to Windows 8. Now here I've got Windows 8 Pro up and running again. Now let's go back and right click on Windows button and click on the control panel, and what we want to do is make sure that HyperV is still checked. We click on programs, and then the additional programs, and there's HyperV, and there's still X'd in. So we do now have HyperV loaded on there. So now let's go and click on the Windows button and get to the apps mode, and what we want to do is find HyperV Manager on here. So I look over and there's HyperV Manager. I right click on it and I want to pin it to the taskbar. I found that to be the easiest way to work with it. And so I'm back here, and there you can see that it's pinned to the taskbar here. So I'm going to click on it to open it. And this looks, when I pull it down here, very similar to Oracle's VirtualBox. That's the name of my computer. And so I'm going to right click on this and go new, and I want to create a new virtual machine. And so it's bringing up a list very similar to VirtualBox, and I'll click on next, and I need to give it a name. So let's give it a name, and I'll call it XP1, and this we don't have to worry about. Click on the next, and we need to give it how much memory. We'll leave it at 512 meg. Click again, and it's just telling us that we can't connect get to the internet, and then we need to give it the hard disk information for the virtual hard drive, and then we tell it where the CD-ROM is. That's in there, and click on next, and it's saying this is all the information. If it's correct, hit next. And so now it's creating the same as VirtualBox. It's creating the XP CD. This one, though, it installed, I cut it all out of there, but it did install XP on there, and it's telling me right now that it's turned off. I want to turn it on, and let me pull this down. And whoops, I was wrong. It didn't load it on yet. It's going to read the CD DVD-ROM now to load it on. And there, I've cut a bunch of stuff out of here, but it has the XP on there now finally. But I didn't want to go through the whole install of the program again. So there we have XP on there, and you can load your programs in from here. We're back, and as you can see, that was fast, but it's not difficult at all. And it takes a little bit of work to set them up, but once you remember that you have enough memory, you define the hard drive space, and have an operating system ready to load, it's not difficult at all. And any virtualization software, I'm sure, would be the same as the three that we looked at. There are a couple problems that you could run into, and I'm going to put a video together. Keep an eye open for it. That will help with the problems with some of the hardware issues going in. There could be a problem there. But thank you very much for joining me, and we'll see you in another video. Thank you.